Right. Um, Before you get started, Devin, we got one item first.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Brian Dixon to the position of police officer effective March 23rd.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So. Yes, sir.
General observation, so the capital improvement plan, the big piece of paper, Excel spreadsheet in front of you, is a work in progress, but I think it's a capture of the grant work that you've completed, those that are in progress, and then just kind of taking a little bit of a 1 to 5 year outlook of some of your known needs that are also on the radar. And just for a village of your size, it's an incredible amount of work and an incredible amount of projects that you've been processing, both the construction end of it, but then also just all of the paperwork, documentation, administration that goes along with it. So I think a note on that is that a lot of grants come with the opportunity for grant administration as a line item. And I think that communities, you have to operate your day-to-day and just keep the village operations running. So availing yourselves of that as a support to your direct staff, I think is always a decent option. And I think one that, as we've supported you on the grant application side of things, we've at least tried to put in some allowance for that so that you don't get overwhelmed by taking in these public funds and getting them implemented for the projects that they're intended for. This is something that we, through our relationship with the village, whether it's kind of a direct contract or just kind of incidental to the administrative work that we do with you, through different contracts, we want to be continually filling that in. So for example, where the total project cost versus awards, as I was kind of just pulling this together, I was losing track of which is award, which is total project cost. Over time, we'll start to fill that in. And I think that the other intent of this is that you, the village, will have that priority column as an opportunity to put actual assigned kind of ranked numbers behind that, so that you as a village have an eye towards what your priorities are in terms of your capital improvements. And I think that that can be obviously helpful for identifying what grants are high enough on the priority list that you want to pursue it, or where you have your discretionary general funds that you want to put towards that. It just kind of helps everyone stay on the same page. And I think by no means if there was a priority 14, but there's a really strong alignment with a grant opportunity, and what I mean if you can't go for that until you get through 1 through 13, it just kind of gives a general reference for what the priority is. The other document is just kind of a little bit more of a support to the chart, and it follows the order of those that are completed in progress. So the two that are highlighted yellow in the table are your Collins Park and Shawnee Trail extension projects, which are really at the tail end. The construction is done. The way that the budget ended up, we just needed to process an amendment with Parks, and that is very close to wrapping up. The ball is in their court, and then once that budget amendment is complete, they will be processing your final reimbursement. The projects in green are those that you just received notice of award on, and we haven't even in most cases or all cases received the actual grant contracts yet, but they're due kind of any day, any week now. The first one, from a dollar standpoint, was relatively small. It's the village-wide ADA assessment, and that's through your CRTC, the Capital Region Transportation Council. While it's small in dollar amount, I think just from our work with you with BOA nomination and the public engagement that we did for the New York Forward application, we heard constantly that the condition of the sidewalks, especially for those with disabilities, is a pretty big concern and priority. So while this doesn't get to construction, which I know is, everyone wants those tangible results, it will give you the ability to do this village-wide assessment to identify those trouble areas and then develop a plan. It'll also make you that much more grant competitive because you'll have that assessment done and include that as an attachment and a reference for the implementation side of it. So I think that was an exciting kind of just, shot in the dark, but it hit, and we'll be excited to support you on that if you so choose from actually doing the assessment piece of it. Similarly, the Mohawk Avenue corridor design redevelopment, that was a 2025 CFA application that we did for you through the Brownfield Opportunity Area Program. You went through, did Envision Scotia, and you got your BOA area nominated and designated, and then that allowed you to apply for the subsequent grant, which is this pre-development grant. And we identified that if you could really do full survey of the Mohawk corridor and get as far along as we can in detailed design, that again, that was going to position you to be that much more competitive for the implementation grants downstream. As a reference, the Transportation Alternative Program, those applications were due last year. They're an every 2-year cycle. We found that if you aren't basically shovel ready, have detailed designs all the way complete, you're just not really competitive with those applications because so many other communities that you're up against are that far along. And so while it's like kind of the frustratingly patient, slow approach to have to wait another 2 years for that implementation construction funding to come back around again, this is the right path to take to just get as shovel ready as possible. And it'll be a big step in the right direction. We've not gotten the actual agreement from Department of State. I think because we've been experiencing across agencies that have been really slow this year in getting those out. It should be an any day, any week kind of thing. And, we with Bella are prepared to respond to, support you on those professional services on that as well. The final category, it doesn't really map to the project chart because it'll be able to cut across or support several of those different park or riverfront components, but we were awarded through Congressman Tonko $500,000 through the federal appropriations. And that's a similar story where you've got the announcement. I think he's even going around doing some of the photo ops, but if there could be a gap between when you get the announcement from the congressperson to when you actually hear from the assigned federal agency. So we're waiting on that across a couple different communities that we supported on the front end as well. And I think once we get a look at what that actual downstream grant application NEPA process is, we can support you on kind of scoping that out and defining what the next steps are. I guess I'll pause there just from, the ones that are about to wrap up and those funding sources or the projects that they align with or support.
Justin, do you have any questions?
I don't think I'm eager to kind of have a discussion on these priorities as a board, because there is a lot here, but the thing I want to celebrate and thank Labella for is, with your help and support, we've been able to secure over $1 million in some grant support because you assisted with CDBG for the village hall, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and then you assisted with the $500,000 for Congressman Tonko. And then you assisted with the BOA pre-development. So
300,000.
Yeah. So over $1 million worth of grant support coming into this village for projects that need to be done, I is commendable. And I look forward to.
We will schedule time when we have our.
Yeah, it's definitely, it is a lot. Just getting it into one table was a lot. And I think if you kind of filter out the completed versus the in progress, now you're kind of looking, more at the 1 to 5 year picture. It becomes a little less overwhelming just because there's fewer projects. But even then, I think just taking a good considered look at that will be a good exercise.
Trustee, so
Would you say the ones that are in like orange, because my color orange on the back page, it's a couple of orange.
Yeah, those I highlighted to align with or just kind of highlight because they factor into the last bucket. So the projects that are sort of near-term priorities that we haven't identified funding for yet, but are on our radar. From clean water, sewer, drinking water, storm water, those projects would all come under the umbrella for the RFQ that you issued last week. And I know you've done a lot of engineering prior to that, but there's just been you're hitting your head against the wall in order to get funding for a lot of those projects. So I think the hope with that RFQ is that fresh eyes, fresh look at the work that's been done to date. Our experience from a Lobella standpoint is that a lot of communities kind of throw spaghetti against the wall and hope that it sticks, and there's too many projects under a big umbrella. We find that it's a little bit more effective to break it down and identify the most competitive component within the greater project and isolate that for state and federal funding. So yeah, I think that the two in orange, the water treatment plant upgrades, one note on that is that we, Lobella, at no cost, are supporting a fiscal year 27 submission to both Tonko, Schumer, and Gillibrand. The only reason why that kind of rose to the surface is that those announcements on the funding availability came out, they don't really give you much of a runway. And the information that we had on hand to do a competitive, information-rich application was the water treatment plant versus some of the other village priorities. The other kind of rationale behind that is that Tonko in particular just supported you on parks and riverfront. And so switching to a different kind of municipal need like infrastructure, which is really urgent and critical, might kind of tap a different bucket that he's considering as he looks at his support. I think in general, we tend to find that communities receive a higher percentage of support through the House representative as compared to the Senate representative, just because it's like a more isolated area versus the entire state.
Yeah, this is a good document to like the strategic
Yeah.
plan folder, big picture kind of discussion. This is great.
Because like, for example, I wonder if, road 39 and 28 are, we got, the feasibility study, because, some of the reasons why we may not be scoring is because we are such a small water district in comparison to other water districts around, and, any kind of look at, increasing the competitiveness by an intermunicipal agreement.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things to that. So if you are satisfying an intermunicipal kind of relationship and there's a formal intermunicipal agreement in place, you actually can jump out of the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act funding stream and go over to the intermunicipal grant, so IMG versus WIA within the.
So do we already have that with the fact that we already have town residents on village water? Would we already qualify for jumping into that category, or does it need to be a more substantial amount?
My guess is that, and just having had conversations with Ryan and different folks, is that I think that because you're serving users outside, you'd have to have that municipality or the IMA with the town officially,
Which we have.
So, yeah, and I think one of the interesting advantages of that, we were debriefing with another community, and the Department of Health engineer for drinking water mentioned that the intermunicipal grant category actually goes undersubscribed most years, meaning that there's more funds available than people apply for, whereas it's like a 25% approval rate because it's so competitive and there's so much interest in that. So don't want to get ahead of anything, but if we were selected for the RFQ, that's kind of the type of strategy and insight that we could bring to the decision-making process of how to frame the projects, what story to tell, which funding source to ultimately go for.
Fortunately or unfortunately, we really haven't reached the levels of kind of action, DFAs and stuff like that.
Well, it definitely affects competitiveness. There's sort of the unfortunate, almost perverse incentive where if you're not putting like raw effluent into a river body, or you're not like running out of water, like Village of Mayfield has had a lot of issues and they actually ran out of water for 6 days. So there's the state of emergency, and all of a sudden they score, like a community like that is going to score really well because there's all of these different either health risks or environmental citations that actually boost your score. You don't ultimately want to get to that point. You want to be proactive and preventative, but everything costs money. So what we find is that within an entire system, I mean, throughout the Northeast and New York, a lot of our systems are aged, and there are these critical single point of failures that really are at the end of their useful life. And if they go, then you are in the same boat as these communities. So isolate those versus, you know, throw the whole $10 million at the FC and hope that it sticks. So, yeah, well, more to go.
Thank you, sir.
But I think,
Thanks, Tony.
yeah, the only other thing, well, maybe that was it. Oh, well, no, New York Forward, I don't come bearing any insider information. We do know that obviously two of our regions in the state were awarded, North Country and what?
Central, I think.
My phone just rang, but it wasn't that, it
Yeah,
wasn't them, so.
but it's gotta be, I mean, last year, the Capital District found out late. My new theory is it's because the governor is always in New York versus having to like time it where she's doing some other thing. So maybe she saves.
I've been checking her calendar where she's
Yeah,
gonna
no.
be, so.
I do feel really good, really strong. And I think just another thing to sort of frame that whole list and all of these other municipal needs that you have. The New York Forward Strategic Investment Plan process is not a light lift. You can have a really strong committee, you can try to delegate, but there's still a lot of coordination, pricing, et cetera, that falls back on the village. So I think being conservative this year in terms of new grant pursuits, digest the ones that you have, the amount of coordination and work for these new ones, the BOA, you know, Mohawk Avenue, I think it's just wise to not stretch yourself too thin, execute well on the things that are in front of you. You have to move back into a village hall, like there's a lot of moving pieces and activities. So I think being conservative, especially when you get the New York Forward, is kind of a prudent move for 2026.
Thank you. In addition to this work, I know how hard you've been working on the CDBG grant stuff, so thank you for that. All that you've been pulling together and submitting for us.
Well, that's a good segue to Sean, unless there's anyone else on the
No,
agenda.
thank you, Willie,
It's
so
been a
much.
great partnership with Beaver Brewer. Great.
Yeah, first you take it off. Okay.
The engineers use the sipping cups.
Sure. Just leave. Back.
Good evening. I'm Sean Farn. I'm with Beaver Brewer Construction, here to give you a monthly update on phase 2 of the municipal project, the renovation of the municipal village hall. In keeping with tradition, first up on the list today is meeting minutes. We've attached meeting minutes from February 17th and March 3rd. Certainly review those at your convenience. Next meeting is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The focus of the meetings last month has been schedule, and also grant compliance. I think we did right? Yeah. So far, still work to be done, but so far, the grant process has been made very manageable because of Lavella and their hard work. So in all seriousness, that you have a very good consultant in Lavella, and they do far better than most do that I see. So it's been a good working relationship with them. Schedule overview. I have attached, there are 5 pages. I think we'll go through each one independently, just with a summary of each page, I think, and then if you have questions about any specific line items, we can talk about that. The building exteriors, right now, the focus on the exterior is, we're waiting for National Grid to come and set the tubs on the new pole, which will allow us to complete the sidewalk work in that area. It'll allow us, we need the scaffold up to put the new window in. There's a window that goes in the judge's office in the back there that is in direct conflict with the existing tower service on the building. So till the new service, just for your information, goes down the pole and underground. But there is currently an overhead service that's mounted to the building that enters very close to the judge's office. So we have a little bit of delay waiting for grid, but we have called for the connection, and once we call, they're typically in within 10 days. The other outside factor that we're dealing with, and as it relates to the exterior, is New York State Department of Transportation. Despite everybody's best efforts, we are still waiting for DOT to confirm a pre-installation conference on site. Last week, and I believe I did copy the village on this, some people in the village at least, we offered a series of dates, being yesterday and today, or sorry, today and tomorrow, that we were available. They did not respond back. We need to have a meeting with them on site before we can legally do work in the right of way. If we do not get that meeting done prior to the end of March, then we will be proceeding with all of the work that is not in the New York State right of way, which will complete 90% of your sidewalk work. And then we will complete the sidewalk, the curb work along the front of the old fire station when they finally come and agree to issue the permit. But right now we do not have the permit for DOT. This is not, this responsibility lies directly with DOT at this point. It's not the general contractor has been chasing this for 8 months. So
We need to do PMS notification for 7 days, so you're at least 7 days behind them.
I'm sorry.
Usually before you do work that restricts traffic, you're restricting traffic.
No, we're not restricting traffic. So we just need them to come say, okay.
Yeah.
I think they're just buried, to be honest with you. The rest of the flat work, as you can see here, you can see everything on the site exterior right now, we believe will be finished by April the 3rd. And you can see there's a series of dates, including the stairs at the police entry and the soffit. And I've given you on the 3/16/26 update as to where we are with each of those items. I don't have any concerns with any of it being done right now. I think the only one, if there's an exception, it would be the canopy over the police entry, same company that we dealt with for the canopies on this structure. So still more to learn on that, but everything else, I think we should be in good shape on the exterior. Second floor police area, which is the old village court area. You can see we are 99% complete in that space. The only thing that has not been started is toilet accessories. I typed this morning stating that the sills were not on site. I got here at 4 o'clock today and the sills are on site. So that's how fast this stuff is moving. The only other you can see here under swing doors, we've swung the doors, but we have not done the hardware yet on them. So we still need final punch list, final cleaning, things like that, but the majority of the work has been done on second floor police. If you go to second floor courts, which used to be the old fire station meeting space upstairs, you can see that area as well, 95% complete. What are we waiting on? The elevator is being installed currently in the main lobby of the new main lobby of the village hall area. And we're waiting to remove the window in the judge's room so that we can put the new window in and finish the sheetrock and so forth. That wall of the judge's room is still, you can see the studs because we can't demo the wall because of the power that's on the wall outside. That will come along quickly, but that area, again, that is not on MJG. That is a function of cash flow. The one thing I am chasing, there was confusion regarding the wood base in the upstairs area. MJG thought they were providing a vinyl base or a 4-inch wood base. They've been corrected. It's like what you see here. It's a 7-inch maple base. So they are procuring that now. It'll be done before you move in, but that's dragging behind because they didn't know they had to do it. Well, on the elevator, I think the elevator is all of this week and all of next week. It should be in pretty good shape by the end of next week. It shouldn't be an issue. Go to the first floor police area, which is the old village hall, I'm sorry, the old village office area. Getting there, rock tape finished, pretty much 85–90% complete with that. The paint, the grid's in most of it. We're waiting on millwork. Ceramics, 60% done. We need to do the entrance by the police, new police entry, pushing to get that done towards the end of this week. Exterior doors and entryway. So we'll note on exterior doors and entries, at the end of the day, the only exterior doors that are not completed are the door, which is the old door into the fire bay, the passage door that went into the steps to go down into the fire bay. That is being left old for a reason. It's where all the demo is going in and out. A new door will get trashed there in no time. We've got the door. It will be installed. The other door that we're waiting on that we do need is the overhead door for the police portico, for the police garage. And we're chasing every day to get that done. I worked with John. That ceiling was a little bit ambiguous in the design. Called for some sort of a drop ceiling, which is not really appropriate in a garage space. So John did a good job. He procured a metal ceiling product that we were able to purchase directly. The MJG will be purchasing directly, but we're going to put a metal ceiling in that garage that you can wash. It'll be durable. It'll look great. It's going to be white. I've used it on fire station ceilings before. So that's the first floor police area. And then last but not least, the first floor village office area, which used to be the fire bay, right? And right now, rock tape finished in good shape. Grid's in. We're waiting on the millwork, waiting on ceramics in the front entry, but they're scheduled to happen this week. The exterior doors, entryways are good. They've got flooring to do. That's probably where they are behind the most. They're supposed to start today. They didn't. That floor needs some leveling and some love before we start applying finishes. That is probably the one area that we're going to have to make sure we focus on. Dropping tile is all set. We're waiting on getting some more power in the ceiling, but that's not a problem. And device startup and punch list is not a problem. I had a discussion with H2M today, Katrina, to give her a status on project status. And when we thought we would be ready for punch list, I advised her that April the 9th, which is a Thursday, would be a good date to come and do it. John and I will be doing a punch list on April 1st or 2nd. But I did coordinate with her and gave her an update on the status of the schedule for the project as we sit today. Any questions on scheduling?
Still on for April?
Yes. So do we want to go into that? So the plan with the police department, correct me if I'm wrong, chief, right? April 15th is a Wednesday. Yeah. And he's going to unplug and come to the new station, and the village will be doing their move as well. I think there's a little bit of who goes first because of the computer system. He's got the hard drive right now, using simple terms. He's got the mainframe. So we got to get the mainframe flipped in, And then it would make sense to move Maria, but Maria's office will be coming Thursday, Friday, right behind him. The goal is for both police and Village Hall to be open to the public, functioning on Monday the 20th.
So did we get an extension for?
All right, so that's the marching orders. Right now, it has not been shared with JMG. They believe it's April 3rd. They have to have the inside of the building 100%. I don't think they'll make that, but I do think we'll make the 15th without problem. Without problem, that's a strong statement. We'll make the 15th. It will be a push to the end. No new status of the budget has not changed. Next on the hit list is the consumables for the month. I'm still, as you can see here, I'm still projecting that we'll be under budget on our consumables at the end of the project. Any questions on consumables? It's basically just dumpsters and porta potties and HP staff time. Next on the list is construction contingency. For construction contingency, I think since our last meeting, I've added 4 items. A credit for the prisoner bench, a credit for the block wall and elevator, an ad that has not been reviewed for the transition strip in the wood floor. You can see how we're going along there. We're holding our own. Any questions on that? Last but not least, FF&E. I've updated the FF&E to include. Since we last talked, I think the only thing we added was the court chairs, and I prepared that purchase order for the village today and sent it to Maria. Stephanie, you got a copy back, right, Maria?
Yes,
That signed?
yes.
Okay.
It's on the agenda.
Oh, did you? You're able to? Okay, great. So you can see where we are with contingency. And we keep plugging along. The last sheet that I provided, same as last time, is a summary of all of your accounts in kind of a overview format. So I've updated the FF&E. Our consumables, the utilities have not changed from the last report. Our design and construction management have not changed. Our prime contractors have not changed. Our professional services have not changed. Our contingency did change. And you can see a total estimated savings on the project as we sit today. It'll be close, but we'll be under budget. Question?
Thank you, Sean. I know you came out special for
I
tonight.
would miss this for the world. I don't know what I'm gonna do on social media.
Thankful you and Labella, I mean, Devin, or
Yeah, no, that made it very.
making that grant happen. Because
Yeah,
that was,
well, he did that with them. That was not me. Ben and Maria. That was not, I had nothing to do with it.
yes,
So that's it. So tomorrow, I'm here obviously. Tomorrow, do you have time to review site conditions? Sidewalk and
Yeah.
interior? When would you like to do that? We have a 1 o'clock meeting.
yeah, let me, before that, so obviously.
All right, so,
I'll be here at 8 o'clock.
okay. What I'd like to go through, I talked with chief of police here a little bit. I want to talk about reorganizing the site to allow for sidewalk work to be done. So we got to talk about that. I talked with Ryan a little bit about it. But we just got some logistics. Ryan, I talked to him before I came via the phone, you know.
Yeah, he had a court
It's getting sued.
No,
So, all right, but yeah, so we have some logistics that we can go through tomorrow. That'd be great. And then we'll go from there.
thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Good night.
Next on the agenda are a series of approvals for the project.
Any question for the CK?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve LLC change order number 9. For the extra window valve.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the MJG construction. 10, out to $718 for basement wall revisions.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve MJG construction work LLC change order number 11. Out of $1,089 for owner requested block.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve MJG construction group LLC change order number 12. Out of $4,343 for additional rentals.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Other than what lentils are.
I looked it up. I know what it is. Goes over the top of the door, or something like that to support it. I did look it up. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
For those of us with.
Hang on one second, George. We're bringing Sean in case there is a question about any of these.
Okay.
George knows what.
I know what a soffit is.
For structural weight above an opening.
Questions?
We may have some. We just wanted you,
No problem.
if we need you. Next.
That's what a
What a lintel was.
A lintel is a steel member that spans across a window or door that supports the brick above it.
Got it. All right.
motion.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve MJG Construction Group change order number 13, the amount of $1,635 for elevator pit reinforcement.
Second.
Any questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve MJG Construction Group LLC change order number 14 in the amount of less than $9,900. It's in
Neg-
parentheses, so that means
Negative.
it's a negative.
It's a credit.
It's a
A
credit
credit
to us.
for Huber Brewer heater rent.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve MJG Construction Group change order number 15 in the amount of $3,213 for soffit.
Any questions on soffits? All in favor?
Aye. Want to do the rest, George?
Make a motion to approve MJG Construction Group LLC change order number 16 in the amount of $2,941 for framing revisions.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to MJG Construction Group LLC in order, change order number 17, the amount of $3,448 for added exterior window sills.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve Tri-Valley Plumbing and Heating Incorporated change order number 1 in the amount of $1,518 for plumbing rework.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign PO with Wolf Safe and Lock Company, amount of $17,610 to furnish and install control components.
I'll second.
Any questions on this? Oh,
So remind me, is Wolf Safe and Lock the ones who did the firehouse?
no.
Is the control system here the same as what will be installed at the village hall and police department?
You mean with the same spout work?
Yes.
Probably. Don't know for sure.
it just goes along with the discussion when we had at every meeting this week. Aligning all the things together in one.
Yeah.
Service contracts. Able to have them all together in one.
My roadblock in that thought process is the competitive bid process that we have to approach state too. So
If it wasn't in the bid to be play nice in the pool, then
correct. We had to solicit and receive bids and open bids for those services, and we had to award to the lowest responsible contractor, which we did.
but we didn't put that in to make it part of the bid, so.
We didn't do what? We didn't.
It's about
To match what's in the firehouse.
With everything that's installed.
with a fob, and I don't know the answer, the fob that opens the door at Village Hall may be able to be read over here if given access as well. I don't know the answer to that. But if I was to write the scope of work to do that, it would obviously become a proprietary spec, which is not allowed in New York State. Welcome to
All in favor?
New York.
I,
Aye.
Am I okay?
Yeah,
Hate to speak legal terms
no, you're right.
in front of the
Like to make
legal person.
a motion to authorize the mayor to sign PO with repeat business systems in the amount of $18,580.81 to furnish and install IT equipment.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead. Report. Yep.
Is this accommodating for any of the camera stuff or?
No,
Camera stuff
That part
It's
of
different,
any of
yeah.
the portable stuff?
that, no, that we have to work on.
So is there in the plan, which this board has asked many, many times for
The
cameras
ceiling
to be
is-
installed?
The ceiling has the
Connectivity is there.
connectivity is there. We need to select the camera. And
Is there a
So-
plan in place and a process in place for that? Because
I've
once this
started
project
looking.
closes,
I've started looking and will incorporate the board to help.
Okay.
Find it. All in favor?
I,
Like authorize the mayor to sign a deal with Accent Commercial Furniture.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Need some eyes.
Yes, I.
Yeah.
Next,
Are we?
So I want to bring up an aspect.
sorry, if I could please. We do have a camera in the second floor courtroom for security.
No, he wants.
no, it's the AV.
Yeah, just to be clear, so that the change order that we were just discussing is for security cameras mounted throughout the building. There is one in the courtroom for a security purpose, but there is no AV or anything like that.
No,
Right.
the
Okay,
setup
just
is,
to be clear,
the
but
setup is there.
I thought, but I do have one camera like the one in here too.
No, which is why we're using something we bought with COVID money for $1,500 that requires either myself or George to operate. And if at any point George and I decide that we no longer want to be trustees, there is no one currently in Village Hall that is trained or able to set up, operate any of these camera systems. And it's been said many times throughout this municipal facilities project that an easy to use, go streaming like camera for meeting streaming to keep current with what nearly every municipality is doing needs to be prioritized.
Yes.
And it sounds to me that has not been prioritized and it's disappointing.
Dave,
The ceiling is ready for it. Yes,
that's about Stu and I talked about.
okay. Georgia District Management Association, Inc.
So I requested the last meeting or via email, a copy of the district management plan. Have we found that district management plan?
I have one and I failed to pull it out, and I'm sure I do somewhere.
Based upon what's in our village code, the district management plan, which is actually the plan that structures what the Scotia Business Improvement District is supposed to be doing with the funds that they're allocated for, it is that majority of the funds is for beautification and it sounds like other, I don't want to call it infrastructure, but services that the village does not provide, such as snow removal, plantings, flowerings, that kind of stuff. After reviewing their budget, I see actually their second most used line is $4,500 for donation. Don't know to what organizations those donations are for. And I don't see the support of charitable projects within what's outlined in village code as the responsibility within the district management plan. So knowing that the ask for an additional $6,000 in their budget is to accommodate for the increased costs that they're bearing for snow removal, I question as to whether, they could restructure their budget to accommodate for that. It has also been mentioned at village bid meetings I've attended in the past that they are potentially sitting on some investment savings, roughly about $70,000. That is, yes, the rainy day fund. Again, I don't know what the rainy day fund is for. But I think for at least one budget year, at a time when we are facing some budget stress due to the onboarding of this, the Village Hall project, I think it's wise that we do not fund their increased budget ask. It is only $6,000, I understand that, but it will have an impact on our tax cap. Reducing the amount of money that we can borrow or we can levy for at a time where we need to be levying exactly what we need to be levying to maintain essential services village residents rely on. And I think for at least 1 year, the bid has sufficient savings and potential work within their budget to be able to accommodate the increased costs for snow. I know that will probably not come as a very popular answer to the members of the bid. But I do know that I have spoken with some members of the business improvement district, and they are okay with my position on this. I wish we had more trustees here to
Right.
discuss that, which is why I'm going to motion to table
That's
Again.
what we need.
until more trustees are here.
So we get that agreement.
And also the district management plan. I would like to review the district management plan to make sure that it is still relevant to the needs of a 21st century business. It was developed, if I understand correctly, the early 90s.
20 years, 30 years.
No, it's
ago.
changed.
30 years, I think it's 30 years old. Okay. Abel,
So review of revenue. Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Am I done?
you're done.
Okay.
First column is the amended budget, the second column is the budget that the board adopted. The third column is actual numbers to date, and final current projection. Again, best estimates, definitely things can change. The variance is the variance to the adopted budget, to the final current projection. So, I don't know if you want to go through them. Obviously, the red or negative, positive, I sent around a thing, I know you all understand sales tax, but fortunately, we can see Metroplex sales tax going up, so I think we can budget next year some more. Park fees. Fortunately, we don't have a contract yet for Fire District 4. So we have budgeted 15%. I put in a 12%. Based on suggestion by the mayor. Interest earnings, we're just not, as the mayor said, we are out about $600,000 right now that we're waiting on reimbursement for the Sunnyside Road Bridge, which is money we're not earning interest on. We are also utilizing more money and have a lower fund balance, so our interest earnings are down. License are down, permits, court revenue, it was bumped to 120, but unfortunately, we're not getting that. Mortgage tax is on the increase. And interfund transfer are, interest earned from the municipal facilities account. So you're gonna see one more, that budgeted on the next budget for a premium we earned on a bond, but then that revenue line will no longer exist. So I'm just projecting a shortage in the revenues.
Talking to courts, it's been very difficult with the court being out of the village for them to collect revenue adequately.
Why?
People tended to pay during court night. And for the first few months or 6 to 8 months, they didn't have access to that until they were able to do that. But they still were able to pay in the village hall. Or I'm sorry, in the court at the police station, but
This revenue is still revenue that is owed. So I'm assuming there is a plan in place to get that
yeah,
lost revenue because they are court mandated to pay it.
yeah, there is, we have been discussing with the court clerk, collections. And she has investigated what we can do about transferring certain things to civil suits. That goes to the
So fine.
civil fines, yeah. But a bunch of that money, Justin, is part of the T2 system, is gonna go and collect 3 years worth of back revenue for us.
So that projected revenue, so just the first step we do for the budget process is find the current projections of this current fiscal year. So we know where we're gonna end this current fiscal year. So we have an idea of how much fund balance, because as you know, when we adopt our budget, we adopt a deficit budget. We know our expenses are gonna be more than our revenue, and that's why we apply fund balance. So these are the second page, the really small lettering is, so we allocated 300,000 for fund balance, and then we utilized 329,000 of fund balance throughout the year for the items that are highlighted in the yellow. So our fund balance based on our audited financial statements were 2.157, and we kind of estimated, I don't think we'll use all of the 300,000, so I'm estimating we'll be at 1.6 at the end of the fiscal year. And then the long sheet, I just want to show you how quickly, I know it's gonna come up as a discussion during the budget process, the fund balance allocation. When I sent you on the tax cap, I had also referenced the interest earnings we had earned on the municipal facilities project. And which was, we're over $500,000 in interest earnings that we earned on that money. So that really helped us along during these years and helped us to develop the fund balance to use in order to keep this tax rate where we've been able to. We did have, so this year we had the contracts that we paid out and the reduction of fund balance because we couldn't of other things that we allocated fund balance for. So I think we're gonna end at 1.6.
And that's roughly where we were back in 2023. Am I reading that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the end of 2023.
And unfortunately, we'll talk about water and sewer more with Ryan, but water revenue is down and expenses are definitely up. I think both the combination of the loss of Porter Park and the equalization of those water rates really had an impact on us. And sewer is just about right on where we budgeted. We allocated 100,000 and we're about 80,000. So I just wanted you to have that prior to seeing to the budget, so you know in your mind what we can utilize responsibly to balance it out. Because I don't think we'll see much more opportunity to replenish the fund balance over time.
And this takes some time to read, guys, I know.
But if you have any questions, please let me know.
I mean, I think we're just, to your point, I think we are going into a preservation mode, so passing deficit budgets, knowing that we don't have a surplus. I really would hate to see that fund balance dip far below where it currently is.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, we went down to 1.2 million in 2019. And I don't know if I want to go back to that because we worked hard over those 4 years to build that fund balance. And we knew that with the municipal facilities project, there was going to be some
Train.
tough years, which is why we built up the fund balance. But I think we need to.
We built it up with that money and then taking it away now.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, guys. George, do you have any questions or you go work first?
No, yeah, it's a discussion we have every year and it's a challenge.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry.
I just do, I
Take
do
that
have
back.
some, things stand out to me that may be, they were budgetary misses. One is expecting park fees to be what they are. I mean, have a variance of about 10 grand. So the question for me, Mr. Mayor, was our budget projection for that revenue feasible? Or is this actually an issue in the fact that we don't necessarily have an enforcement mechanism for some of the park permits in Collins Park?
You mean park usage?
Yeah. Supposed to have a park permit
I
with anything
think-
more than 25.
I think it's a little bit,
How many parties go on in Collins Park in the summer with 25 or more people that don't have a park permit?
I think it's partially that. I think it's partially that we ended up we have given a number of people use of the park. But I also think it was a late implementation of the rates. But I will go back and look to see why, because we'll be able to find why we had that.
And the same thing is too, having such a discrepancy with fire department fees. To be not over 9 grand short on fire department fees, I'm assuming this is rental inspection.
Yes, it is.
So why are we behind in rental inspections? Are we just not charging? What's the
We're
deal
behind.
there? So again, that, being
Yeah.
behind $9,000, we got 3 months to fix that. So that doesn't necessarily need to be a deficit. That can at least be,
Reduced.
like, it should be zero.
What line was it? So marking one.
Yeah,
41,000, got it,
1540.
gotcha.
We really need to get. This report.
Yeah, in place. Can we get a motion,
Motion to adjourn.
George? Second,
Second, yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Justin, did you respond